The pursuit of control, when divorced from genuine affection, often abandons brute force for a far more sophisticated and insidious weapon: confusion. Its power lies in its subtlety. The principle governing this dynamic is both simple and devastating. A person who is uncertain of their standing, who is perpetually questioning the meaning of her words, the intent behind her actions, and the truth of her affections, is a person who has already relinquished their power. This state of bewilderment is rarely a byproduct of a mercurial or complex nature. Rather, it is a deliberately engineered strategy designed to keep you anchored in a cycle of doubt. It functions as her primary form of leverage, allowing her to dictate the pace and tone of the relationship without ever having to commit or be truly vulnerable. The methodology is a calculated push and pull cycle of reinforcement and withdrawal designed to destabilize your emotional footing. One day she is warm, openly affectionate, and seems entirely invested, offering you a glimpse of the connection you crave. The next, without explanation or provocation, she becomes cold, emotionally distant, and detached, leaving you in a void of silence. She might verbally affirm how much she cares, only to then act as if you barely exist. This intentional inconsistency is not accidental. It is a tactical maneuver to keep you perpetually off balance. The effect is deeply psychological. It forces you to turn inward, not for self-reflection, but to obsessively scrutinize your own behavior, asking, "What did I do wrong?" It effectively externalizes the source of the problem onto you, making you the variable in an equation she controls. This erratic pattern creates a potent addiction cycle within your own mind. The intermittent reinforcement, the unpredictable moments of warmth feels euphoric, precisely because the periods of coldness are so crushing and confusing. You are conditioned to cherish the highs precisely because they are rare and unpredictable, because you never know which version of her you will encounter. You continue to show up, hoping for the affectionate, engaged woman while rationalizing and tolerating the cold, dismissive one. Each time you endure the negative behavior in the hope of a positive reward, you silently compromise your standards and slowly, inexorably, erode your own sense of self-worth. You become a participant in your own demoralization, chasing the fleeting validation of someone who has mastered the art of keeping you perpetually wanting. This meticulously crafted cycle of confusion is far more than a frustrating puzzle. It is a sophisticated trap designed with one primary function: to capture and hold your attention, energy, and unwavering pursuit. The brutal, counterintuitive truth of this dynamic is that the more uncertain you are about her feelings, the more powerful and secure she feels in her position. A man who is confused does not walk away. His innate desire for resolution compels him to try harder. He mistakenly believes the ambiguity is a problem to be solved, and so he invests immense mental capital analyzing text messages, replaying conversations in his head, and deconstructing every minor interaction, all in a futile attempt to figure her out. He is so focused on decoding her that he completely misses the glaringly obvious fact that the game itself is the point, not a misunderstanding to be clarified. In this disoriented state, you are paralyzed into hesitation. Your natural forward momentum is halted because you are waiting for a signal, for permission to proceed. You wait for clarity to be granted from her. You wait for her to validate your presence, to confirm your worth, and to officially tell you whether you are still wanted. This posture of waiting is inherently one of profound weakness. You voluntarily place yourself in the subordinate position of the chaser, the pleader, the one whose emotional state is dependent on her whims. She instinctively thrives on this energy. While you are lost in the exhausting fog she created, she operates from a place of calm control. Join the ego boost of your dedication and the security of knowing you are emotionally hooked on the UA toxic cycle of her intermittent reinforcement, the addictive pattern of her calculated absence and presence. This investment goes beyond mere emotion, becomes a drain on your entire being. You find yourself going to bed preoccupied with her mixed signals and waking up already anxious, playing her tone of voice from the previous day. Your mental energy, which could be channeled into your work, your passions, or your own well-being, is instead almost entirely consumed by her. You live in a constant state of analysis, trying to find a logical pattern in what is, by design, illogical. This is the core of the trap. You are pouring your most valuable resources, time, focus, and emotional stamina to a person who is actively thriving on the fact that you are doing so. The imbalance is staggering. You are desperately trying to figure her out while she expends zero effort trying to understand you. Your pursuit becomes its own reward for her, solidifying her control and deepening your captivity within a game you never agreed to play, but are now desperately trying to win. Amid the chaos of mixed signals and emotional whiplash, it is crucial to recognize one fundamental, non-negotiable truth. The confusion you are experiencing is not a mysterious puzzle to be solved, nor is it an accidental byproduct of a complicated life. It is, in itself, the clearest answer you will ever receive. Her behavior is a language, and it is showing you everything you need to know about her investment in character. A woman who possesses genuine feelings for you and who is truly invested in building something real does not confuse you. It is that simple. The foundation of real love, connection, and a healthy partnership is built on security and predictability, not on a bed of unpredictable anxiety. Consistency is the hallmark of respect. It is the action that proves words are more than just convenient sounds. When someone values you, they understand that your peace of mind is paramount, and they would never intentionally jeopardize it for a cheap sense of power or entertainment. Therefore, the operative principle is this: if she wanted you, you would know. There would be no room for debilitating doubt. If she truly valued you and saw a future with you, she would demonstrate it through actions that are aligned with her words. She would not feel the need to test your patience with endless mind games, use silence as a calculated weapon, or pull you close only to push you away for sport. These are not the actions of someone who is unsure. They are the calculated strategies of someone who is certain of what they are doing, and certain that what they want is control, not partnership. The very fact that she is comfortable making you doubt yourself, that she can witness your anxiety and your desperate attempts to win her approval without feeling compelled to offer reassurance, is the most telling proof that she is not emotionally Ellen. Her confusion is her truth. It is a silent but screaming confession that she does not love you for who you are. She loves what she is able to extract from you when you are in a state of unsteadiness. She loves the attention, the devotion, the ego boost that comes from your relentless pursuit. She loves the feeling of being the center of your universe without having to offer the same gravitational pull in return. It is the ultimate imbalance. You are analyzing her every move, while she simply enjoys the show. This dynamic is not about mutual affection. It is about domination. It is about the thrill of having a hold over someone's emotional state. To believe otherwise, to tell yourself stories about her being busy, stressed, or just complicated, is to engage in a form of self-deception that only prolongs the pain. You are interpreting deliberate tactics as accidental traits, effectively excusing the very behavior that is harming you. The moment you stop trying to decode her mixed signals and start seeing them for what they are. Deliberate strategy to maintain power is the moment you can begin to free yourself. The evidence is not hidden, it is presented to you daily. In the form of inconsistency, accepting that this is her chosen method of interaction is the first and most critical step toward reclaiming your reality and your worth. The pivotal moment of liberation arrives not when she changes, but the instant you recognize the pattern for what it is and consciously decide to break free. This awakening is the crucial turning point. Yet it is here that most men make a critical error. They believe the solution is to try harder. They redouble their efforts, sending more texts, offering more reassurance, and pouring more emotional energy into what they perceive as a problem of communication or a test of their loyalty. They mistakenly believe that if they can just prove their worth more convincingly, they can cure her confusion and earn the clarity they crave. This approach is not only futile, it is the very behavior that deepens the trap. You cannot fix a game by playing it more fervently. You can only stop playing. The only true path out of this dynamic is through the unwavering application of brutal self-respect and strategic detachment. This means you must make the conscious choice to stop chasing answers from someone whose entire strategy is built on withholding them. You must cease begging for consistency from a person who has deliberately and repeatedly chosen inconsistency as their modus operandi. It requires you to radically accept that her coldness, her silence, and her hot and cold behavior are not cryptic messages to be interpreted, but are simply tactics, clear and deliberate actions designed to keep you hooked. You must internalize the painful but freeing truth that her mixed signals are not a problem for you to solve. They are the game itself. Your engagement with the mystery is what she counts on. Your disengagement is your reclaiming of power. Reclaiming your power is therefore an internal shift that manifests through external action. It is the conscious decision to stop orbiting her emotional sun and to become the center of your own gravitational pull. This means actively choosing to value your own clarity, peace, and self-respect over the temporary, drug-like high of her occasional affection. It involves anchoring yourself so firmly in your own purpose, your own values, and your own frame of reference that her games become transparent, predictable, and ultimately ineffective. You stop asking, "What does this mean?" and start stating, "This is what I will accept." This is not an act of hostility. It is an act of self-preservation, which is the understanding that your mental energy is a finite and precious resource that will no longer be siphoned off by someone who treats it as a tool for their amusement. By setting this boundary not with a dramatic declaration aimed at her, but with quiet, unwavering action aimed at protecting yourself, you fundamentally alter the dynamics of the relationship. You are no longer a participant in your own manipulation. You become an observer who has seen the trick and can no longer be fooled. And in that clarity, you find the strength to walk away from the magician's stage altogether, the ultimate victory. In this dynamic is not achieved through defeating her or mastering her game, but through attaining a state of such profound self-mastery that her strategies simply cease to be effective. This is not about winning a battle of wills. It is about rising to a level of being where the battle itself becomes irrelevant. Many men, upon learning these psychological patterns, make the fatal error of attempting to fight fire with fire. They believe the key is to outmaneuver her, to play their own games of calculated silence, intentional mixed signals, and manufactured indifference. This is not strength. It is weakness in disguise. It is merely reactionary behavior, proving you are still orbiting her reality, still expending your energy in response to her actions. A woman intuitively senses this inauthenticity, the difference between a man who is genuinely unfazed and one who is merely acting the part. True, unassailable power comes from radical self-mastery and an unshakable internal frame. This means building a life and an identity so rich, so focused on your own purpose, values, and mission that her games of confusion barely register on your emotional landscape. The goal is not to pretend you don't care. It is to genuinely reach a point where you actually don't care because your self-worth is so deeply rooted in your own achievements and character that her approval becomes superfluous. Your silence then is not a tactical ploy to make her wonder. It is the natural, authentic response of a man who has nothing more to say to nonsense. Your lack of chasing is not an effort to seem aloof. It is simply who you are, a man moving forward with his own life, who does not have time for emotional chaos. When you embody this authentic solidity, the entire dynamic is forced to shift. She is confronted with something she cannot control, manipulate, or easily understand. Your calm detachment is an impenetrable armor. Faced with this, she has only two possible choices, both of which constitute a victory for you. The first is that she recognizes the strength of your frame, drops the games out of genuine respect, and chooses to engage with you honestly and transparently. The second is that she, realizing her tactics are futile and that she cannot exert control, chooses to walk away. Either outcome is a win. You either gain a potential partner capable of respect, or you free yourself from a draining and manipulative dynamic without further energy expended. The real loss was never her departure. It was the previous version of you that abandoned his own peace, purpose, and self-respect in the desperate attempt to please her. By holding your frame, you win back your autonomy. You demonstrate that your well-being is non-negotiable, and in doing so, you become the man who is no longer susceptible to the silent poison of confusion. This is the final, unassailable form of power, the power of a complete and sovereign self.